Hi guys. Okay, so what the hell am I saying? Bitcoin to lose 100K, and what is my next step? So I am extremely bearish and bullish, but I think we need to talk about the fact that the momentum is lost that I've been warning you guys against. And the reality is that most of the alts, they do need a deeper retrace. And this, I think, is necessary. So we need Bitcoin to basically go and visit maybe 97, those kind of levels before we then can move and see maybe a continuation. Also, what I always try and do is I try not to look too far ahead of time, because it's easy to fall victim of crazy predictions saying Bitcoin 200, end of the year, that kind of stuff. We take things level by level. That's the more realistic approach, I feel, because in the end of the day, nobody knows. Not me, not anybody else you're going to find on YouTube or anywhere for that matter. It is, for lack of a better word, trading is gambling, investing is gambling. You're playing the odds, okay, based on what is going to happen on the big picture. Okay, let's head over to the charts and let's get into Bitcoin at the moment. So I'm gonna start off with this stream. So this is my track record for those that are new. So if you're new to the channel, guys, and you want to know how I go about things, hit the like, hit the subscribe, join the community, and where we're at now, we're basically the previous two calls, both of them failed like a mother. I hate it. That's the thing. That's why I say I don't try and sell the illusion that I know what the future is going to bring. Okay, so the last two failed. Before that, we could not do no wrong. I think the previous one that failed was there, and all the others were going into nice TPs. Okay, so at this stage, we're basically two in a row taking a loss. And the frustrating thing is, here I started to see the fact that the momentum was going away, and we were trying to look for the short, and we ended up getting stopped out. Now, I'm still sneakingly in my short at the moment. Okay, so I took one with everybody in my Discord group, and frustratingly, so I almost want my long that I took yesterday with everybody in the Discord. It's on a different exchange. That one to fail, because I loaded up on the short and I still have a few things. So I'm kind of betting against the bullish trend, and so be careful. I might be biased to a point, but I'll try and give you the TA as neutral as potentially humanly possible. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is, when we look at moves like this, is to simplify things for ourselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take away all the setups that's been shared, and the most recent one as well. I'll just remove the emojis. And let's just look at this from a practical point of view. Okay, so 4 hour is our trading time frame. That's the ideal time frame to trade for a living. Okay, we were bearish for what was a long period, when Bitcoin, from January, the whole of the beginning of the year, up until the point at around April this year, before we started turning around. And the demand that was created in order for us to turn the tide around was there. So that was the original demand zone, the first area where the market wanted to try and turn the tide. That then got taken out, maybe liquidity grab. What is a liquidity grab? It's literally too few people participating, and all the people participating have their stops so close in proximity that it basically creates a domino or knock-on effect. One guy gets stopped out, and then the market literally just runs through the stops and returns, which is what happened there. So we created that liquidity grab around that area. And the easiest way that you can identify liquidity grabs is you will typically find that there will be divergence. Okay, this was weak bullish divergence, as I explained it at that stage, but bullish divergence nevertheless. So around that area where the divergence occurs is then the last area of demand, or the last real big demand that was created. So from that demand, we want to try and see when was the last area of supply. I'm going to try and speed this up for you guys. I don't want to take too much time and make this too much of a big educational stream, but it's important that we just look at this from that point of view. So when we have our supply, let's quickly, there's my supply zone. That's the area of supply, and you can see that it got tested and sold off. So it is fair to assume once we moved back into supply zone, that was the last area where one could argue that there would still be a bearish trend. Okay. And the best way then to try and identify, or to support that from a momentum point of view is you will see that you will typically have hidden bearish divergence at that stage. RSI going higher than the last high. That's it. Hidden bearish divergence, which then got deleted. That's the reason why when we went, let me share my setups. When that happened, I went long there and I didn't expect any more retrace, purely because we broke the bear's back. Okay. So I painted this whole picture for you guys. Now, if we do the same thing in reverse, this is the easiest way if you were to invert this chart. What would the argument be? Well, we need a higher high, which we haven't had just yet. But if we fall through critical levels, 100K, it changes the dynamic, and we could see this. It's fair assumption. It's just as that, it's the same way. And that's what I want to guard against with you guys. So I don't want to try and doomsday you guys out of your spot bags or anything like that. Remember, this is just trading. But as a trader, you're doing an analysis, and then you're projecting on what the future outcome would be based on what is there. So technical analysis, if you were to bring it down into one word, it's just fractal. Regardless of what strategy you're using, whether it's Elliott wave, whether it's Fibonacci, whatever, it's fractal by nature. You're looking if a set of things happen that's printed on the screen. If that happens, you're expecting a certain outcome like it did the last time. And then you'll have a statistical figure around that says, well, out of those areas, you can expect 60% of the time that it's going to play out in your favor as you extend it to be. And that's why I always hedge myself when it gets to these critical areas. So I'm in a short, I'm in a long, and I want to play both sides of the market because I want to wait and see which party is going to win. Because at this stage, it is slightly 50-50. Okay, so how can I take this then and help you guys kind of decide on where you want to draw the line? Because that's all that I can give you the information. It's not financial advice. You need to kind of define where to draw the line. The simplest way would be to say, okay, right, let's take away let's just take away the last squibbles, and let's look at when supply and demand is in there, and then you know when the demand will potentially be coming back, and you need to be aligned with demand, hopefully, to see that it moves on further. And if that fails, then you know that supply, or those wanting to sell the market, is in control. They're the stronger or the minority. The bigger money, less people. That's what I mean by that. Okay, so if we then look at this and we look at how the market is reacting, we can see that it's got a pivotal nature. It is pivoting around specific axis. Now, it's given. I'm now bullshitting this to an extent because typically you would want to draw this early in the market. And the way that it tricked me, to be honest with you guys, with my initial way that I did it was I was looking at this, saying that this is the extent the market is moving really fast. So then it was pivoting. This is demand. Every time we go below the line, this is demand. And every time we go in harmony on the upper end of the line, that is supply. But, the market, as time goes on, you always get a clearer picture. And that is sometimes why it is so easy to know what you should have done when it comes to technical analysis. But okay, that being said, we're sitting in a situation now that we are below the axis. That same scenario can also be argued by the fact that if we look at our trend to see if the trend is still intact, I use the speed resistance fan, and we do that, you can see that we're basically out of trend now. This is the highest point for where prices, okay? We've fallen below the trend. Just, duplicate the screen. And I will create an educational video in the Discord for you guys and drop it in there for you pretty soon so that you guys know exactly how that works. Okay. So we're basically breaking trend at the moment. So it supports the theory for being bearish. So if this is the case, I'm going to mark this then out as the axis. This is where wrong line. Sorry, guys. The axis, because this is where price is wanting to break through. When did I change this thing's color to red? It's supposed to be yellow. There we go. Okay. And that means that when we look at the last supply zone, this is the area where supply entered the market. So that is the area where supply is always re-entering the market. So as price reaches that level, you can see it starts to sell off. When price reaches that range, you can also see that it's creating divergence. Okay, so you know that then that is supply. So the argument would be that in that same way, when is the last area we had the demand, we had hidden bullish demand around that range. We're sitting in an area where we've just now created another hidden bullish demand. So this is the area when demand is entering the market. So let's mark this out. I'm going to mark that as supply raise. Okay. And then I'll mark this out as demand raise. And why do I want them to be in an angle? It's simple. In the end of the day, if I can analyze the market and I can know where price needs to be by what time, it is better than knowing where price needs to be. It gives you a little bit more of a narrowing of the probabilities. I need price to be there by then, because then I know if it takes longer, the momentum that I'm playing with isn't there anymore. Okay. So that's why I want to have these demand and supply rates, because it gives me an expectation into the future in time as well in price of where the market is going to regain momentum or look for another buy. So any shakeouts that could occur for price testing 100K could potentially be a really good buy with you guys, for you guys. Now I've already shared that buy, and this is this long setup. And the problem that I'm facing is, and I'm going to do it to you guys again. If this long fails, just like the previous long that was there, I'm going to be going bullish again there. Okay. Because this is all in part of still the market trying to go bullish. You might argue that I might be too cautious or too greedy, wanting to buy the dip too quickly. But in the end of the day, you have to take the market level by level, because if you're honest with yourself and you know that you don't know what the future holds, you have to play the odds, which means you have to have skin in the game, because just like here, the market could run out of nowhere and continue on higher, and everybody was still waiting for buys. Now everybody's sitting holding their dollars. So that's the main thing. But because we've got a trend that is bearish now, also on the 4-hour, I'm just going to indicate that with a simple trend line. I would also expect that if it's not here doing this, at some stage there will be another move, and that will be paired with yet again hidden bearish divergence. And that would be the area where I would want to try and play the other side of the market again, saying that if I'm wrong with being bullish, that's the play that's going to bring the market down. Now, worst case scenario, there's one rule that I want to remind you guys before I end off today's Bitcoin analysis. And it is this rule: 50% of the time that it takes for the move to be created, okay, 50% of that time is typically how quick a retrace would be if this is an impulse. You know, the beginning of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, meaning that we're there somewhere at the moment. Okay, after a long retrace, or there somewhere. There somewhere. Yeah, after a long retrace. And that's something that you just need to keep in the back of your head. And then another half to the rule is that at least 50% of the move will also be retraced with. So me saying 97 is very conservative, if we're wrong and it goes down, because there's argument for 91 and so forth. And then this will create one big wave, one big correction, and then potentially a continuation. And that will bring the alts, I think everybody can agree, will bring Ethereum from where it's at right now back to maybe, say, $2,000 or maybe $1,800, testing its lows. Okay, so it's just worth knowing that. Okay, so over to the comments. Let's quickly have a look at the comments. While we do that, guys, a kind of reminder, today's video is brought to you by BloFin. Create your BloFin account. Come and trade with me. I created a spot trade group in the Discord for you guys. There it is. And your BloFin account needs to be funded, and it needs to have had one trade at least. That's all. Further, no cost to you. Okay. The BloFin account needs to be active. Then the Discord I will give you a role that will unlock this channel. And next week, I'm starting with spot trading with everybody in the Discord that has this BloFin role. Reason being is the alts have been hammering a lot of people, and there's a lot of pain in the market at this stage. So I want to try and see if I can help, not financial advice, share how I would navigate these kind of pullbacks that I'm expecting for Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, Bitcoin Cash. Okay. So if you want to be part of that group, I think there is at this stage, let's just quickly see, 49 people signed up so far. I can do another 51. So seats are going quickly. Make sure that you grab your seat. Okay, simple as that. Which means that I can basically then sit with you guys, show you how I typically go about trading spot back in the day when I just traded spot. Okay. So it's a beginner-friendly campaign. So I want to help a lot of people by showing them how I go about this. Okay. No financial advice. Past performances does not guarantee future gains. Okay. Just remember that. Okay. So back to Bitcoin then. Back to the comments. Let's quickly have a look at the comments. Guys, say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Morning, Renee. Yuri, hello. How you doing? BB is here as well. Shane, this is a new one. Shane, hello to you, my friend. Stanku, hello, Stanku. Anita, bye. I like it. This is typically a bye scenario. The frustrating thing, though, Anita, and I like the comment, is that this is the part of the time of the market where following me could potentially be the most expensive thing you do. Let me explain. The last time, when we looked, this is all the previous spot setups that I shared on YouTube Live with you guys. The buys, the sells, the buys, the sells, and the missed buys. I mean, I missed that buy zone. I get stuff wrong. Once we get into that market where you're wanting to play the continuation of momentum. So it looks like I'm a genius. And then all of a sudden, my way of taking things level by level reaches a point where it's either going to be very effective, like it was just now with the last get in with momentum play. Let me just bring that back. The last get in with momentum play can be extremely effective or can be extremely frustrating if the momentum fails, because then we're trying to get in with momentum, and then we go for the next buy again for the continuation. So it's just one of those things, buy zone, trying to get in with momentum. We hit at that area. So are we going to do this? Buy, or are we going to go, to the moon? I don't know. So I just put it out there for you guys. You can kind of see where. 97 is possible, 95, yes. But remember now, like I said, I'm marking out levels. The best way to kind of put those predictions in perspective is to do the following. What is the best support areas? Okay. So I've marked out the areas when demand is going to come in. So if we follow the trend, we could argue that, and let's do this, follow the trend. We can argue that there will be buyers waiting in this diamond shape of an area, which means if it's by June 2025, the 5th of June, we're looking at, just tomorrow, today. Yeah, that's today. Today's the 5th already, man. See, If we look at that, it can be going as low as 100K. If time goes on slower, the expectation is that it's not going to go to 102. Okay, that's for the 4-hour time frame. The weekly, the daily time frame, the targets are way different. Yes, 97, 96, but remember now, those targets is on the play that I'm expecting, on the expectation that it fails. Okay, and we haven't failed anything yet. We're in the beginnings of it, and it can turn around. Momentum enters the market like a thief in the night, you know. So it could be that after this video is ended and we close the next 4-hour candle, the market switches around, turns bullish, and creates a blue candle that breaks through this resistance, all these lines, all these psychological barriers that's in the market, created by traders, you know, drawing lines on screens, you know, hesitant on buying. It creates a blue candle, runs all the way to 108, 109, and we sit at 122 by the end of next month. So that's why I just want to try and take things level by level. That's the level by level approach. You never know. Okay. Morning, Dean, as well. Okay, guys, so that's everything for today. Thanks so much. You have an idea. Make sure to get your BloFin account funded and trade. Place one trade to qualify. It's very simple. Links in the video description for the BloFin, the BloFin account, and my Discord. Once you entered my Discord, you click on the navigation channel. It's as simple as that. And then you ask for the partner role. There you go. It's as simple as that. You click on that little button. It takes you to the right channel because there's many channels. Which channel do you need to go to? You know, so just use the navigation system. It's very simple. And then you go and you ask for the BloFin benefits. Okay, click on that little button. It will create a one-on-one channel for you guys. And this is now for the guys that's new to Discord. So it's got your name in there. So you click on that channel, and then it tells you step 1. It gives you the link again. It says the minimum funding that is required. Okay, and various levels of funding. Gives you additional perks. You can read through it and decide for yourself. Then you need to send me your TradingView ID once you've done that. Why? Because I want to gift you access to my buddy indicator. Okay, here's the buddy indicator. Okay, buy between the purple lines, sell on the green lines. Okay, sell between the purple lines. Sadly, this one stopped out. It's like just like any other signal or any other trade, it does have its failures, but there you go. Buy between the purple lines again. So it gives you that access. I want to give you that. And also, I want to give you access to the trade guide, which works with the buddy indicator to help you get onto the right side of the market before you take a trade, especially if you're a new beginner. So it's yet again a step-by-step tool that you can use to navigate. And then once you reach the end, tells you which strategy is applicable for the current market environment. You don't need a degree to use this. It's very simple. So I'd like to give you that. And in addition to that, let's go back to this channel. There we go. Load. There we go. And then obviously I need your BloFin user ID, just the ID, nothing else, to verify that all is well. And it's a manual process. So yeah, just give me some time. Okay, so that's everything. Let's see what else. Can BloFin be used for futures trading in the UK? Yes. At the moment, you can use BloFin for futures trading. Hence the reason I actually partnered with them. Because, you know, once certain exchanges get too big, if they do not abide by the regulatory framework within that jurisdiction, they get shut down. We've seen this with Bybit. We've seen this with Primex BT in certain areas. I can trade. They've got a license in South Africa. They're licensed in Australia. You know, so all the, you know, where I'm at, all the plus time zone countries pretty much can use Primex BT. That's where I trade. But for everybody UK-wise and, you know, in the Americas, they can't. They can still use BloFin. In the future, it doesn't mean that regulatory framework might catch up to them and say, okay, right, you're not allowed to trade there anymore. But yes, you can do that. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, that's it. Okay, guys, that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys regarding Bitcoin for today. So in essence, what do I want to try and do? Okay, I want to stay with this long because this has not been invalidated. We're holding on to demand, but I've explained to you guys now, if it fails, I am and I will be taking another long based on this because I want to try and see if we can still get in on some momentum plays. And once we delete or fall below these demand rays, the picture then is going to be very much more so go short, favor short over longs. And that is when the spot market is going to start moving into their buy zones. And that is what I want you guys to prepare for, because then that would be the kind of moves that will get us back. There was Bitcoin Cash's buy zone, BNB, these kind of things that still need to retrace, maybe go and test these demand areas, bring us into these spots so that we can get those buys in. Okay, there you have it. Rocking the haircut. Yeah, thanks, my friend. You guys have a lovely day. You're awesome, all of you. Thanks so much for taking the time watching the video with me. Head over to the Discord, follow the links, join the group, get ready, because when we start, I don't want you guys to fall behind. And in addition to that, once you're in there, there's so much more regarding how you can, strategies on how you can build your portfolio and everything that I've learned through hard knocks, that I share in there, so you guys can use it. I see there's Crypto Macy already opening a ticket for today. Okay, so there you have it. Just guys, thanks so much. Bye-bye.